Most guys go through their life not knowing that female attraction has a blind spot. And once you see it, once you realize that it exists, the world's your oyster, so to speak, in terms of women. You start getting opportunities with women that other guys can't even see, don't even realize are there. So, for example, a woman can look at a tall, handsome man and find him attractive because he's physically good looking. And if an average looking guy is standing next to him, she's most likely, in almost all cases, going to be feeling less attraction for the average looking man because the handsome man looks better. So she feels more attracted to him. But the blind spot that most guys don't realize is that she doesn't know how much attraction she's going to feel for the handsome man versus average looking man until she interacts with them. Right? So, for example, the handsome looking man who is tall might actually be quite nervous and unsure of himself. And as a result of that, for most women, they're going to lose interest. If the woman isn't attractive, then she will often like the fact that the handsome man is insecure and self-doubting, because then she feels like she has more of a chance, and she's not very attractive, so she may be able to get with him, right? But if the woman is attractive, in almost all cases, she's not going to be feeling an increased amount of attraction for the handsome man when she interacts with him and realizes that he's insecure and self-doubting. But if she interacts with the average-looking man, and it turns out that he's confident and he can be a bit charming, he may be able to make her laugh, or he may be able to flirt with her, or she just senses that he's very secure in his masculinity. He doesn't feel like he needs to suppress his masculinity around her and be softer and nicer because he's in the presence of a woman, right? And he's got to put on this act of being this nice, innocent guy that will hopefully be liked by her. Instead, he continues to be masculine as he interacts with her, and she realizes that she's interacting with a man. Then, as a result of that, she's going to feel an increased amount of attraction for him. She may not have seen him as her first choice in terms of appearance because there are good-looking men around in the situation and they are much more physically attractive than him, but now that she's interacting with him, she's feeling a lot of attraction for him and is interested. So he can go from not being an option in her mind because she's not feeling amazed by his appearance or anything, right? He's just a random guy, another guy, right? Nothing special about him. He can go from that to her feeling like, oh, wow, I like this guy, right? And he then has an opportunity with her. But many guys don't even realize that that opportunity exists because they see the way that women react to handsome men. And it's pretty obvious that if a man is very handsome and tall, that the women are looking at him and they like him more based on how he looks, right? He's clearly more physically appealing. So if a guy's average looking, for example, and he's not getting those sorts of reactions from women, and he interacts with an attractive woman, and that day, for example, he was just feeling extra confident, extra easygoing, right? He was able to talk to her and not be afraid, not be nervous, not be doubting himself. And he may have accidentally thrown in a bit of a joke and she laughed, or he may have accidentally started to flirt with her, or he just felt confident enough to switch that on or add it in. Then she will feel an increased amount of attraction for him. She may have looked at him and initially thought no, but she didn't know how much attraction she would feel for him until they interacted. But if he's used to not thinking that women that he finds attractive will want him, then he'll often just see that as the woman reacting in a positive way, but still, he doesn't have a chance with her. Come on. He doesn't realize that a woman's attraction can increase for a man when she's interacting with him. She can start feeling attracted to him for many different reasons that are important to women. For example, it's important to almost all attractive women that the man is at least as confident as her, but ideally he's more confident than her. So she doesn't essentially have a baby on her hands, right? A boy that she's going to have to sort of lift his chin up and pat him on the back, pat him on the head, and encourage him to feel confident and grow into his masculinity. Like, come on, man up, sort of thing. She doesn't have to tell him to do that. It's very important for women in terms of their attraction that the guy is at least as confident as them, but ideally, as I was saying, is more confident than they are, right? And if a guy is actually more confident than an attractive woman, right, and he's only average looking, then that has value to her, right? It's not nothing. It's not something that she's not interested in, that's attractive to her. That attracts her to a guy, right? A guy who has that quality is going to feel so much better to be around for her compared to a guy who doesn't have that quality, right? So rather than giving you some examples of attractive women that I've been with, which I've shown in some other videos, but if you want to see some photos of some of the attractive women I've been with over the years, the link is in the description. But rather than giving you an example about myself, I'll give you an example of one of the members of my community. He was a virgin until 23 years old, and when he first had sex with a woman, it took him quite a while until he had sex with another woman. But once he started to learn that he can actually make women feel attracted, and he started to do it, he realized how easy it actually is, right? That most guys don't realize the opportunity that is there because they're waiting for women to make it really obvious that they want to be with them, which most women don't do. They just don't go around doing that. Even for handsome men, for example, they don't have attractive women coming up to them saying, "Hey, how are you? Can I get your number? Can I take you out sometime?" They may get an unattractive woman or a very average-looking woman coming up and saying something to them, but they don't get attractive women coming up and doing that in almost all cases. But for this guy, he recently has been sleeping with 4 different women. And a couple of them, as he said, were attractive women who weren't even showing that much interest initially. And that's the reality, right? With the attractive women that I was with over the years, they weren't looking at me when they saw me and going, "Oh, wow, I want to be with that guy." I was basically nothing, right? I'm just an average-looking guy, just another guy, nothing special about how I look. And in terms of my height, I'm 5'9", so when there are other guys around who are 6 foot and taller, they look better than me, right? Initially, right, based on a woman's attraction, how she feels attracted just based on looking, those guys are more attractive. But the attractive women that I was with over the years before settling down, they didn't know how much attraction they were going to feel for me until I started interacting with them. And then they started to feel like, "Oh, wow, okay, I like this guy." But prior to then, I'm just another random guy with nothing special about my appearance. Additionally, it's not just about having an interaction with a woman and trying to have a conversation with her where you attempt to get along with her. Or as this member of my community was saying, he was interacting with some women and they started flirting with him. And another guy joined the group, if I'm remembering correctly, and he was in interview mode. So what do you do? Where you from? What's your favorite color? What's your favorite movie? And so on, right? Just questions where he is asking the woman question after question, trying to get to know her. But what this member of my community was doing was making her feel attracted, was triggering attraction inside of her. And as a result, the women felt attracted to him. And as a result, his confidence is going through the roof because he now knows that the female attraction blind spot exists. He can see what's actually going on. And he's experienced it. So how about you? Have you ever started an interaction with a woman and you just felt more confident that day and more in the zone? And you started talking to her and you were just on and you noticed that she was interested, but you possibly didn't know what to do next, or you didn't have the confidence to take the next step, right? So for example, you may have seen her being interested, but then thought, well, should I actually ask for a number? Maybe she's just being nice and friendly. Maybe this is how she is with every guy. Or maybe if I ask for a number, she's going to say, well, you're nice and it's been great chatting to you, but sorry, you're not my type. All right, nice try, bro, sort of thing. All right, am I going to get that sort of reaction if I attempt it? Or for some guys, when they start interacting with a woman and she's showing some interest, they get kind of excited and they start seeming very keen now. And the woman realizes the guy is very excited that he may be getting an opportunity with her. And as a result, she senses desperation. She's like, "Oh, right, he doesn't normally get this sort of reaction from women. And he's quite keen now." And she then starts to lose interest. Or she starts to test his confidence. She wants to see, is this guy confident for real, or was he just having a bit of a moment there? Right, so then she starts playing a little bit hard to get. Or she says something to playfully tease him, to mess with his confidence in the moment, to see how he's going to react. And if he then starts to crumble, she realizes that, okay, he was just having a bit of a confident moment there, but he's really not more confident than me, or at least as confident as me, and therefore her interest plummets. So while the female attraction blind spot exists, where they don't know how much attraction they're going to feel for you, you still need to be able to make the woman feel attracted as you interact with her. And if you can do that, then you're good, right? You're in. She's feeling attracted to you. She's feeling like, okay, I like this guy. And she's open to something happening. and you then just need to move it forward. And if you do that, then you get better results than most guys out there, because most guys out there just look at women. Right? They just look at them and feel attracted and don't do anything about it. Or they have interactions with women and they just doubt themselves. Right? They think, well, as if she's going to like me. Right? There are other guys around here that are tall and handsome, and she's probably got, 5 handsome guys chasing her right now. Why would she be interested in me? So they just count themselves out. But when you realize that the female attraction blind spot exists, where she doesn't know how much attraction she's going to feel for you, and if you interact with her and make her feel attracted, her attraction for you increases, then you realize that you do actually have an opportunity. She's actually interested. But the way that women are is that in most cases, they're not going to make that obvious. They're not going to say to you, hey, we're talking here and I kind of like you. I think that you and I should date. Maybe I could come over to your place or something. I'm feeling a bit horny. How about you? And that sort of stuff. They're not going to say those sort of things, right? Instead, she's just going to talk to you. And if you don't have the confidence to move things forward when she's opening that window of opportunity for you, then she'll close it. And she'll wait for a guy who's confident enough to do that, rather than having to pat a guy on the back, lift his chin up and say, hey, come on, believe in yourself, sort of thing. You can get with me. Come on, I'm interested. Right? She's not going to say that. Instead, she's just going to wait to see if you have the confidence to make a move. And a final point that I'll make for you here is that a woman doesn't decide that she's going to have sex with you and is her final decision just based on how you look, right? She will make an initial decision based on how you look, where she'll feel a certain amount of attraction for you, right? But that is not her final decision. When you interact with her, that's when she starts to decide whether or not she finds you sexually attractive or not. And for example, if a guy is less confident than her, then she's not going to be finding him very sexually attractive, if at all. However, it's not just about confidence. For example, if a guy is as confident as her, then she'll be like, okay, great, right? She'll see him as an equal, right? This guy doesn't feel like he's less than, he doesn't feel intimidated, fantastic. But if he's just talking to her in a neutral way, like she's a friend, and he's not creating any sparks of attraction, he's just trying to get along with her, then it's not something that's going to be turning her on. Yes, she'll feel some attraction for the fact that he's as confident as her, but it's not a turn on, right? A turn on is going to be when he can actually flirt with her, or use what I call playfully challenging humor, or do something else to create a spark in the moment when he's talking to her, where she starts to feel like, okay, right, it's on, and the sparks are there. And you may have seen that in your life if you haven't done it yourself, where you know a guy who's naturally good with women. He's just good with girls. And he will start talking to the woman, and she'll be giggling very quickly. She'll be smiling. There'll be flirting going on back and forth between them, and there'll be sparks, right? It'll just be on. And for most guys, they don't know what the heck's going on there, right? It's like, how the heck is he doing that, right? Why does that happen when he talks to girls, but it doesn't happen when I talk to girls? And for most guys, the answer is going to be that when they talk to girls, they're just trying to get along with them. But that guy is actually creating sparks. He's creating sexual tension between him and her. And as a result, she is quickly deciding that she wants to have sex with him, or that she's open to having sex with him. Whereas the guy who's just talking to her and trying to get along with her, she's like, yeah, right. He seems like he's, confident and seems like a fairly decent guy, but I'm not feeling anything here. I'm not feeling sparks. There's no sexual tension. It just seems like a friendly, forgettable, polite, neutral conversation, and that's it. But that guy is so close to getting results and doesn't even realize it. He doesn't realize that the woman can feel more attracted to him. For many guys, they're thinking, they're waiting, they're hoping that if they start talking to a woman and just get along with her, then she's going to be like, oh, wow, I really like you. And she's going to be showing lots of interest. It's going to be really obvious. It's going to be like one of those times where he's quote unquote gotten lucky, right? Where he gets lucky, where he doesn't really do anything and the woman's interested and he's like, oh, wow, right? Yeah, I can do this sort of thing. But then he talks to another woman that he finds attractive and she doesn't react in that way. And he assumes that it means he's not good looking enough, and that's it. But he doesn't realize that he can make her feel more attracted. And she will then decide for herself that yes, she wants to have sex with him, or she's open to having sex with him. And most guys go through their life not knowing that it's possible to do that. And other guys who know that it's possible just don't know how to do it. right? And they just go through their life thinking, well, maybe one day it'll change because, there was that girl 6 months ago or a year ago, and I didn't even do anything and she was feeling very attracted to me, right? He was getting lucky. So maybe one day it's just going to change. Maybe one day when I interact with attractive women, they're just going to start to feel it. They're going to be giving me those signs, but it's not going to happen. It's going to be the same thing. Unless, of course, he gets lucky once in a blue moon, which is usually not with the types of women that he really wants. But even if it's with a woman that he really wants, which is something that happens to a lot of guys, especially when they're younger, they get lucky with a girl and they get a chance with her and they get into a relationship with her and they become clingy, needy, insecure, overprotective and so on. And the girl ends up dumping them. And then they struggle to ever get a girl like her again because they got lucky when she was a little bit naive and inexperienced. But when they got into a relationship with her, they didn't know how to be confident around her. They didn't know how to make her feel attracted. And her attraction started to decrease, and he started to become more insecure as a result of that. And his insecure behavior, his needy behavior, turned her off even more. And eventually she dumped him. And for most guys then, they're devastated because they know that it's going to be very difficult for them to get a girl like her again, right? Because they don't actually know how to make women feel attracted. And they're just talking to women hoping that something happens. But that's a horrible strategy, and it'll make you feel insecure for your entire life. You'll never feel like you have control over this area of your life if you don't actually know how to make women feel attracted. But when a guy knows how to make women feel attracted and he understands that female attraction has a blind spot where women don't know how much attraction they're going to feel for you, then he realizes that he actually has control over this area of his life, where if he actually interacts with women in ways that make them feel attracted, their attraction increases. So it's up to him, in almost all cases, how much attraction a woman will feel for him. There are some women, for example, if a guy is average looking, that are not going to want to be with him because he's average looking. They only want a handsome man, right? Those women exist. But for the most part, most women will feel more attracted to a guy if he's behaving in a way and interacting with her in a way that triggers attraction inside of women, right? That increases attraction inside of women. And when they feel an increased amount of attraction, they make that sexual decision in their mind where they look at him and they think, yeah, I'd have sex with him. And they open up to it. And if he then realizes that he has that opportunity, like the member of my community has experienced recently, where he was a virgin until 23 and then it took some time until he slept with another woman. But then after figuring out how to actually make women feel attracted, he's been sleeping with 4 new women lately. Kissed, I think it was 8 from memory. So he's kissing a lot of women. He's out there enjoying it and making women feel attracted to the point where they want to kiss him, where they want to have sex with him. And he's enjoying that. Yet, if he were to continue on in his life thinking that he has no control over this area of his life and it's just all up to women, then good luck with that, right? Good luck with that as a man. Unless you're a tall, handsome, model-looking guy, then you're going to go through your life and women aren't going to be reacting to you with amazement and pointing at you and saying, hey, I like you, I want you, come here, right? Or coming over to you saying, hey, nice shirt. Nice pants and shoes and yeah, I mean, you look great. Can I take you out sometime? Can I get your number? You got a girlfriend? You want to have friends with benefits? You want to come over to my place and get it on? It's just not going to happen. It's just a fantasy land idea, some sort of irrational dream that guys have where they hope that one day women are going to change, right? Women will start coming up to him and wanting to be with him. Yet, if he looks good, then he'll get looked at. That's for sure. He looks great. But women will continue to walk on by like they usually do. And for a guy who's average looking or just good looking, and he sees a very handsome man getting better reactions from women than him, he may assume that that's it, right? That's the woman's final sexual decision. She's looking at him, she seems more interested in him, so she's already decided that she wouldn't sleep with me. But she doesn't know how much attraction she's going to feel for you until you interact with her.